There's been a lot of criticism over this plan from the government since it was first released. Tell us a bit more about reaction so far.
That's right. There's been an enormous amount of backlash. Immoral, outrageous, racist, disgraceful. Those are just some of the terms that have been used since this controversial ban came into effect on Monday. One critic even went as far as saying Prime Minister Scott Morrison has blood on his hands. Today, a swathe of MPs, many of them from the coalition government, have called on leaders to reverse the ban, this controversial ban which criminalises any Australians trying to return home from India. They risk a fine of up to 66,000 Australian dollars and even up to 5 years behind bars. Now, the Australian Human Rights Commission has called on the government to prove that these measures aren't discriminatory and that they are justified by medical advice. Meanwhile, there are questions as to why India is being singled out when there were no such bans for places like the US or even parts of Europe when those places were grappling with COVID outbreaks. But with 57% of positive cases in Australian hotel quarantine coming from India, the government says this unprecedented move is justified.
Richelle, what is the situation like for Australians in India? There are some 9,000 of them.
That's right. There's about 9,000 Australians currently stranded and wishing to come home from India. Of those 9,000, some 650 are considered vulnerable. Now, many of those Australians would have ended up in India because they were taking care of sick family members or perhaps dealing with other personal emergencies. But those, the same people that were given permission by the government to travel to India during the pandemic, because a reminder that Australia's borders are closed even for outbound travel, and any Australians wishing to leave the country need to apply for an exemption. Those same people that were given permission by the government have now been left by the same government to fend for themselves. The question is whether this is legal, whether this is a violation of citizenship principles, and whether this is a breach of international obligations. Now, Australia's Human Rights Law Centre said it was actively considering mounting a legal challenge after being approached by a number of Australians stranded abroad. In the meantime, this ban will be looked at further this week by the National Security Cabinet, and any changes could be announced this Friday, but that also includes an extension. That remains a possibility.
Richelle, thank you for that. Richelle Harrison Plesse, they're reporting for us from Sydney.